Welcome to Cordell and Cordell's Men's Divorce Podcast, moderated by Managing Partner and CEO Scott Trout, bringing you information for guys before, during, and after divorce, and everything related to family law. This podcast is not to be taken as legal advice, and no attorney-client relationship is established.
Hey, welcome back to the Cordell and Cordell Men's Divorce Podcast. As always, I'm Scott Trout, and I'm moderating again today. And keep in mind, if you haven't subscribed yet, go to Apple iTunes. We want you to be alerted every time this drops, twice every week, with issues for guys before, during, and after divorce, and every conceivable possible issue we're trying to cover for the past 20 months since COVID started way back in 2020. We want to bring a resource to guys for 15 minutes or less to just get you some talking points so you can take them to an attorney who practices exclusively in family law like we do, which always brings up the idea that this isn't legal advice. We, of course, want you to schedule a consultation, 866-DADS-LAW, or you can go to the web, CordellCordell.com. We have offices around the country, including the United Kingdom, and it's always near you. We can do it virtually on the phone, just or virtual like this, or in person, wherever you feel comfortable. All right, we're joined by Victoria over in Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Hey, glad to join. We were talking off camera. The topic is a really good one. It's about, something that everybody can do a takeaway, and that is, and it really is a way to assist your attorney, but I think the key takeaway is to help save on attorney's fees, because the more you prepare to assist your attorney, obviously the less the attorney has to do and spend money, because no one wants to spend money. It's a ridiculously expensive proposition to go through family court. And so let's talk about it, and I think you're going to break it down in a really great way. And that is the same way the court would look at it, starting with organizing your evidence, gathering your documents. That's something hugely important to prepare your attorney, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you put it perfectly. From the beginning, you want to think about how much time is it going to take to do this stuff? If I can save my attorney time, then I'm going to save money. Attorneys' products are time. It's just like Starbucks' coffee. Our products are time. And so pretty much every state, no matter where you are, is going to have some sort of template that you can look at and see, okay, how do they want me to organize things? How do they want me to present my case? And so when we start looking at what your case presents, you want to see, okay, like in Kentucky where I practice, for example, we start with property and we always start with real estate. So start gathering those documents first, your deed, your mortgage statement, title, all that sort of thing. And you just go down the list and, start pulling those documents, go to your bank and get your bank statements. To the extent that you can do that, you're going to save a lot of time and a lot of money and avoid unnecessary, subpoenas and discovery for information that you could otherwise obtain yourself. Same thing goes for kids. States use best interest factors, and they're always kind of different. But think about gathering medical records. Keep calendars of when you've got the kids, if you've been separated for a while, records of doctor's appointments, logs for things that you've paid for, to the extent that you can, and put it all together. And that helps us out a lot and saves you a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, I think as you were talking about mortgage statements and deeds and all the things, I was thinking about a client who came in one time and I'd said, hey, why don't you start gathering this information for us? It'll be so helpful. And I remember he came in with a banker's box and it was crumpled up papers, not organized, thrown in there. And it was just a heaping pile mess. And I'm thinking, okay, great. But it's even more time that I have to spend to pull every single piece of paper, figure out where it is, what it is. I mean, in some respects, it may have been just easier to subpoena. And so I think it's got to be important to you to say to a client, hey, I want this, but do your best to organize it in a binder. And man, I've had that where I had a client that was so super organized. They Excel spreadsheet everything, their expenses, the mortgage, the payments, the taxes. And I'm thinking, you just saved thousands of dollars of my time. And I got to believe, you feel the same way.
I definitely do. That's a great point. I've had everything from someone who did just exactly what you said, kept Excel spreadsheets of everything, organized it. And I've had someone come in literally with an empty shoebox full of papers that were crumpled up and had stains on them. And
Yeah.
the time that I spent going through the shoebox versus the organized binder, saved so much money and costs.
Yeah. You can even throw it on a thumb drive. I've had clients do that. Here's all the documents, and they've done like by folder, by month, by year. And I can kind of pick and choose what I think I need. It depends on the issues. You may have claims for separate property that, hey, this was mine, or I used an inheritance or, source of funds, or just all kinds of complex issues I can think of when it comes to property that you can do it. But organization, thumb drives, just our lives are much easier, and yours too for the client, when you can do that. And you know best where to look for these things. I think it's a great point. And moving on to kids though, I have always said, hey, a day in the life, keep a diary, give me photos, give me anything that you believe. More is better, not less is better, more is better. And I said, give me everything you got. And then I'll peel through that, the layers, and decide how deep we go. I think that's so important, especially when it comes to custody, because you've got to build your case, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. You want to be able to show with documentation and substantiate the fact that you are proactive with your kids, that you are you're the one that's sending reminders to the other parent about doctor's appointments and not the other way around. You want to control that narrative, and the best way to do that is to be able to provide the documentation that substantiates that.
Yeah. How do you feel about screenshots? We get them all the time. It's somewhat dangerous, obviously, but how do you feel about it, both as to property and even kids' emails, photos, texts, Facebook posts, Instagram, whatever? How do you feel about it?
Stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away from screenshots. Usually there's a PDF that you can pull, especially with statements as it pertains to, just for example, like a bank statement or something. Usually you can pull a PDF. Or when we're talking about kids, if you're looking at, school records and things, there's usually printouts that you can use. But if you're looking at it on your phone and you're screenshotting, that's really, it's not going to be very helpful, just because if that's the only thing we have to use and we have to piece all of those screenshots together, it takes a lot of time to do that. So stay away from screenshots.
Totally. I know it's very tempting, and maybe it will facilitate the discovery of the right evidence and the right way to get it with the proper foundation, because we have to live by these rules. But I think let's talk about, we talked about how, gathering the evidence, getting the documents, getting it ready. And some clients may say to you, hey, Victoria, I don't know where to even start, because I don't know what the issues are. So at Cordell, we provide clients early on kind of a expectation, the legal issues. What is it? What's the law? What are we looking at? Kind of let's break it down. Maybe talk a little bit about what you can do early on in the case to kind of identify and set the stage for clients and what they really need to know and how the law applied to them. And then maybe that facilitates the ability for them to gather the evidence that they need.
Absolutely. Great point. We send a legal issue summary I usually send them pretty early, just because states normally have some sort of mandatory disclosure rule. So in Kentucky, we have a certain amount of time before we have to exchange a disclosure statement. And when we were talking earlier about organizing your case, a lot of you are saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for. I don't know what's relevant to my case or what I need to bring to you. That legal issue summary is such a great resource and a great reference point as your case progresses, and you know exactly what is relevant to your case. Okay, what am I facing in this process as I move forward? What is relevant? What do they need? And so if you don't know that, you can't really do what we're talking about, organizing and pulling those records for your attorney. And so we facilitate that with that letter.
Yeah, and I think I try to find parallels for clients, and so that they can understand, okay, the legal issues, what does it mean? So I say, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, look, you need to lose some weight. Okay, how do I do that? Well, all right, let me give you a nutritional plan. Because if I didn't give you the nutritional plan, because you clearly couldn't get there or you didn't have the information to get to that ideal weight, or get your blood pressure down, get your cholesterol in check, a doctor's going to give you a plan, or they're going to send you somewhere that give you a step-by-step. And that's pretty much what this is. It's kind of an instruction manual on the beginning of the process and what we're going to do. And let's make sure we've identified all of your problems. Let's try to put together a plan to address all those problems. And I think that's the best way to describe the legal issue summary is, hey, here are the elements of custody. And here's, the 8. And here in Missouri, there's 8. And for example, a lot of times a client will say to me, I want my child to testify. I'll say, okay, the child's wishes as to which parent is number 8 on the list, which means at the very bottom. So let's just keep that in mind. Judges don't want to get to number 8. And I think that's kind of the way, as you suggest, you walk clients through. 1, to make them feel better about the process. 2, education is everything. And, if I get diagnosed with cancer, I'm going to Google, wherever I'm going to WebMD. I want to find out what's going on. What do I do? That's what we're trying to do with this legal issue summaries: educate, inform, prepare, and ultimately bring as much calm to the situation as you can, because it's a very stressful moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the really daunting things about the process is just how involved it is, and important to keep in mind that especially for those that like to hold their cards close to the vest and that are private people, your life becomes an open book before the court. And so it's important to keep that in mind as you move forward. Like you said before, more is more. Give us the opportunity to pick and choose what we need from the get-go, and you'll set yourself up for success.
Yep, agreed. It is one of those things where as you just, if you have a lawyer, you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, I've never heard of this. I've not seen this from my lawyer. It's something you need to demand. You want information. You want this summary. You want to know that your attorney is on the same page with you about what you're pursuing, what the law says. And it puts together a strategy. No one's really properly gone to war without planning. I mean, not that every divorce is war, but it's the closest thing. Again, parallels, trying to kind of break this down into simple terms. So Victoria, thanks for bringing this information, great preparation stuff and ideas that guys can use in their case, whether it's before, during, or after divorce. So thanks for joining.
Thank you, Scott.
So just like this, every week, twice a week, you want to tune in and listen to the podcast. And then coming up in October, we have a virtual town hall. If you don't know what that is, you want to go to CordellCordell.com and find out more information about it, where you can log on, ask questions live of a panel of Cordell and Cordell attorneys and get answers right then and right there on topics or any topic that's affecting you, not legal advice. Again, it's a discussion. It's free, but you have to register. And it's always on a topic of importance. Last month or this month, it was on My Wife's Left Me, Now What? Just things that we know we need to go and get information out there. It's the best hour you'll spend. So go to CordellCordell.com, find more information about the October virtual town hall. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and tune in, and you'll get more information. Reach out to us at 866-DADS-LAW, or check us out again at CordellCordell.com, or across all social media and our YouTube channel. It's full of information, full of videos, podcasts, and previous virtual town halls. You'll get all the information you need right on the YouTube channel. So until next time, have a great week.